and share my screen. And so I think we can probably pass over the precepts, which were pretty clear, I think. And then we can talk a little bit about, we can review these verses. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of Fives. Yatapi chando vimalo, gachang akasa datuya, sabe taragane loke, abhaya atirochati, tateva sila sampanno, sado puri sapugalo, sabe macharino loke, chagena atirochati. So here, of course, the yatapi we can say is a standard way to introduce a simile, just like or just as. And the subject of our simile is the moon, the chanda, chando, and it's described matching in case with vimala, vimalo, stainless. So just like this stainless moon, and then it has a present participle masculine nominative in this short form, gachang, going. And then there was a little bit of a question here, akasa datuya. And so literally that is the space element, or maybe we can say the sky, and datu is a feminine noun. And there was, of course, because the case endings of feminine nouns often are a little bit ambiguous, the indirect cases, there was a question of which case it actually is. And I had suggested that it was instrumental. And in fact, I think I was right. And I had pointed out in the Vijayasekara book, he gives a description of a type of instrumental, which he calls the instrumental of means, which means the path, as you can see on my screen, the path or door to express the passage by which a moving takes place, or the way by which one goes. And I highlighted here in blue this example from somewhere in the Samyutta Nikaya. Vata panena rasmi pavi sitva. And so rasmi are rays or ray, having entered vata panena, through the window. I asked Venerable Bodhi about this, and he said, as you can see, I take it as feminine instrumental, and in fact, the commentary explains it that way, which I guess I should have looked myself. And this is a quote from the commentary on our very passage, and you can see how at first it quotes our piece, Gacham akasa datuyati, and then it glosses it with akasena gachanto. So of course we can see the present participle is spelled out more fully to make sure we understand that it's nominative, and then with a more obvious instrumental ending using akasa, through, it's going through space. And so in fact it is instrumental, as the commentary tells us. And so going on in the same way, and so we have a subject here, sila sampano saddo purisa pugalo. And so in the same way, the faithful person accomplished in sila, atirochati, outshines, sabbe macharino, all miserly ones. This is our accusative plural. Loke, in the world, locative. Chagena, by generosity. And so that's the first verse. Second one, yatapi mego tanayang, viju mali satakaku, talang ninangcha pureti, abhivasang Vasudharang. So here our subject for the simile is a cloud. It's described as Tanayang, thundering, and it's also being described as Vijumali and Satakaku. So Vijumali is one of those "in" ending group of nouns, Vijumalin, which is introduced in this section, this chapter, this lesson, in the nominative plural, matching Mego, and so wreathed in lightning. And Satakaku, 100-pointed, like a big puffy rain cloud. And then Pureti, it fills up Talang Ninancha, the plains and the lowlands. Abhivasang, present participle, raining, and this Vasudharang would be our feminine locative upon the earth. And so, Evang dasa sampano sama buddhasa savako macharing adiganhati panchatanehi pandito. So thus, the wise one, the disciple of the fully enlightened one, the one accomplished in vision, we can say surpasses adiganhati, the macharing, accusative here, the miser, pancha tanhehi, in 5 respects. And how? What are the 5? Ayuna yasasa cheva vanena cha sukena cha save boga pariboilo pecha sage pamudati. And so these first 2 are from our new group of nouns that end in us, ayas, yasas. A famous one is chetas, manas. And so these are instrumentals here, with life, long life, with fame, and here's a more familiar instrumental with beauty and happiness. And sa is a version of a masculine demonstrative pronoun. He indeed ve boga pari boilo. So he equipped or endowed or having wealth. And then we have this word pecha sage pamudati. Pecha, as I explained last time, is a type of absolutive. It's built up from the verb eti, which means to go, plus the prefix pa. And if we would put that together with a ya type of absolutive formation, we would get petya. But this tia thing usually doesn't work so well in Pali, and so it becomes smoothed out, assimilated as pecha. And it's sort of a kind or polite way of saying having died or having passed away. He rejoices sage in heaven. And so I hope that fully explains, as a review, our verses. If there are any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will go on to our Sela Sutta. And this is where there was a bit of a confusion, a little bit of an obscurity. And so this is from the Sutta Nipata. It also appears in the Majjhima Nikaya, 92. So, Atako Selo Brahmano Tihi Manavaka Satehi Parivuto Yena Kenyasa Jatilasa Asamoten Upa Sankami. So then, and our subject, the Brahman Sela, which is further described as Parivuto, past participle functioning as an adjective, which means accompanied by, surrounded with. And then here we have our Pali kind of number formation. This is the instrumental of accompaniment. 300 youths, or 300 young men. So notice the word 3, the number 3, in the instrumental, and manavaka, young men, and sata, which is 100, and the instrumental suffix ehi. So the way we often see numbers formed, large numbers formed in Pali, is by putting the 100 attached to the thing which is being counted. So literally this says 3 youth hundreds. With 3 youth hundreds, of course in English we would translate as accompanied by 300 young men or youths. And we have next a yena tena type of construction. Notice that the destination here, where they are going, is expressed in the nominative asamo, the ashram. And that is being described with the genitive Kenyasa Jatilasa, the ashram of Kenya, the matted hair ascetic. Now here, adasa, which is our new type of verb form, the aorist, the simple past. And this particular verb is built upon the somewhat theoretical verb based on the root drish, to see. So that would be dasati. And this type of aorist takes, and aorists typically do, take a letter A, short A, in front of the verb root, called the A augment. So see, saw, and who has saw? Selo Brahmano, that's the subject. Then here is this big question mark, which I didn't quite get right. Kenyasime jatile. The question was, or at least for me, hopefully not for you, how does this break down in what case? And so I asked Venerable Bodhi, and he kindly wrote back. And it seems like there is a better way of expressing it. I have it here. BB is Venerable Bodhi. And so he says here, the CST, that's the Chatta Sanghayana, that's the online Burmese Sixth Council edition, has a variant for the Burmese script version. And here it is. Adasa Koselo Brahmano Kenyasa Jatilasa Asame. Notice how that's a much more clear kind of phrasing than the here bracketed version which we had in our reading. These abbreviations, in case you don't know, are used all the time in the Sixth Council online version, Sinhalese, and the PTS edition. So the PTS edition often goes with the Sri Lankan texts. And so here it's much clearer that what's happening here is jatile, or asame, is accusative plural. And here he writes for me, the case here is definitely accusative plural. Accusative because jatile is the object of adasa. Later in the sentence, also as the object of adasa, we find the obvious accusatives. And we'll talk about that in a second. He also tells us this version also occurs in the Majjhima version of this Sutta 92. And so I hope this helps explain this little bit obscureness, which I didn't quite get. I apologize. So here, he saw some jatilas, some matted hair ascetics, and maybe we can now translate using that genitive of the ashram of Kenya, and then ekeche, some, of course matching here now we can say clearly in the accusative plural. And this is all now using present participles formed in the accusative plural. So for instance, this one, kanante, that's kanati, the verb to dig. The present participle in the nominative would be kananto, but in the accusative plural, kanante. So this is all the object of seeing. It is all expressed in the accusative. So he saw some ascetics digging ovens, some ascetics splitting wood or sticks, some ascetics washing dishes, some ascetics preparing or setting up large water vessels, some ascetics setting out seats, and then here, of course, is very clearly accusative, that ang ending, and maybe yeva we could translate perhaps as even. Even Kenya, the himself, samang, setting out or setting up a mandala malang, a pavilion. I think we have a question from Kao. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, Stephen, I just want to double check.
Yes.
Because you say the asame is accusative plural, right? So it means many hermitage, right? Accusative plural.
It's accusative plural because it's functioning adjectively with this. So it's one ashram.
It's one or many? Because plural,
No,
plural.
It's plural because it is matching this. It's functioning. It's going along with
Could it
jatala.
be locative? Means
this is what we discussed at length.
Hermitage.
I don't think so. And if we look one more time at the version, the other version, we can see here that this is functioning genitive. Keniyasa jatilasa.
Yeah, but asame.
Yeah, I don't think
asame,
so.
if it's plural, but then if you see the earlier the word asamo tenupasangkami, asamo is singular. So they approach only one ashram.
Yes, there's one ashram for sure.
But then they saw many ashram.
I don't think so.
Because the next word you use it as plural. Asamo is singular.
Yeah.
Asamo is singular means only one.
Perhaps we'll have to agree to disagree on this, but as I see it,
all right.
What's happening here from the story is that he's arrived at this place. He's arrived at an ashram.
Yeah, one place.
And he's seeing many different people, many different jatalas. And what are they doing? They're doing various different things in this one place. He's not seeing a lot.
I agree. But only the word asame, is it? Because asame, whether it's plural or singular only. It's all right. It's okay. Yeah.
Perhaps if we want, we can take this as locative. Keniyasime. But we should take
for the word
this.
Asame, for the Asame, I take it as locative.
Yeah, you could do that. That would be fine.
Right, thanks. Yeah, okay, thanks.
All right. Fiakra?
Hi, yes. I just want to check something as well. The in the vocabulary there's there's asamo, which is the hermitage or the ashram, but there's also asamiya is also another entry in the vocab, and asamiya means belonging to a monastery or hermitage.
So the genitive type. It seems like that ya would be an adjectival suffix, giving it that sort of genitive quality.
Okay, so it's not actually it wouldn't be a separate lexicon entry, asamiya.
I don't think so.
Because it would make the thing simpler if we were just to think of that as an adjective, asamiya, jatila. Do you know what I mean? Like just as a accusative plural adjective. That's.
It is.
It is. So it is. Sorry. Yes, it is.
I think it is. And so he saw, this seems clearly accusative, plural, jatile up ekache, some matted hair ascetics, plural.
Clearly, yeah.
This perhaps we can take as locative. Keniyasime, some of the ashram of Kenya. Or we can use the version we looked at below and take it as a true genitive.
Sure. Okay, but it's not a true accusative plural adjective then. It's kind of
could be. It's not clear. It seems very messy. So I've explained it to the best of my understanding.
Oh yeah, sure, I understand. Yeah. No, it's just the when I was studying the New Testament, they had a rule about the textual variants that you always had to choose the less clear one, because the copyist would always tend to smooth things out. So the earlier version would be less clear. So that's all.
I don't know. I vote for clarity. I think all of us can agree that we understand what's happening here, and perhaps the way it's expressed is a little bit unclear. But we've looked at the variants now. Okay, moving on. So Disvana, this is our absolutive and that sort of more elaborate, fancy form. Having seen this, he said this. Kim nuko boto keniasa. So here, again, this bo is this kind of respectful mode of address that we see Brahmins use. So is there, we can take Kim nuko as is there, or will there be, bhavisati. So this is bhavati, the verb to be, in the future tense. So the double S is giving us that marker of future. So this is expressed in sort of that passive voice way. Will there be for the honorable Kenya, that would be genitive, right? Boto Kenyasa, a avaho or a vivaho. These are two aspects of a wedding. Or is there a prepared great sacrifice? Or is here we have the title is 4 pieces. Raja Magato Senio Bimbisara. The king Bimbisara Senia, or King Senia Bimbisara of Magadha, but it's all expressed in the nominative. Prepared, invited, nimantito. So here, this past participle is also declined to match the subject. Is he invited svatanaya, for tomorrow, for the next day, together with a large army? So sading bala kayena, instrumental. And he says, no, that is not what's happening, but rather, samano gotamo sakyaputo sakyakula pabajito. It's a very long mode of describing this one person who is, of course, who we would call the Buddha. And he's described as the ascetic Gotama, son of the Sakyans, and who has gone forth from ablative, from the Sakyan family. This word kula is also sometimes translated as clan or family. In America, we don't like often this word clan because it reminds us of unfortunate events, of racist events. But clan is used, so we're talking about kula. And what is he doing? This is our present participle mana form. He is walking. Notice how it's declined to match the subject, the object. He's walking a walking tour, and now we have our locative, anguttara pesu, amongst these people. And then with our instrumental, mahata bhikkhu sangena sadim, together with a large group or large sangha of bhikkhus. And this again is matching Gotamo, anupato. He's arrived and he's reached apana. So he, of course, Gotamo again, is invited by me. This, I guess, would be our instrumental enclitic pronoun. Svatanaya batang, for a meal tomorrow, together with his large group of monks. And so then the question comes, Buddho tibo Kenya vadesi? You said the word, or you said Buddha? Honorable Kenya? Budoti Bosela Vadami. I'm saying Buddha, Venerable or Honorable Sela. And then the question, because it's so sort of special and unbelievable, I guess, he repeats it. And then the final, for our reading, sentence, Gosa Pikoe so dulabo lo kasming yadidang budoti. So goso is a word or a sound, and piko would be, maybe we can translate it as even, or this is eso, this very sound, dulabo, the adjective, hard to find, based on lubati, with the dur, which is a negative prefix, matching in the nominative. It's rare, it's hard to find, lo kasming, in the world, namely Buddha. And so those are the readings we covered last week. I think, Viakra, do you have a question? Do you have your hand up?
Sorry, no, I just forgot to take it down. Sorry about that.
Okay, any other questions, final questions about last week's readings? Okay. Then we can move on to this week's readings. So, who would like to raise their hand and volunteer to read and translate the first one for us? Okay, Fiakra, can you please read and translate 52? Yeah. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of Twos, the section on people.
Okay, so Dve me bhikkhave Pugala loke upajamana upajanti bahujana hitaya bahujana sukhaya bahuno janasa ataya hitaya sukhaya deva manusanang.
Okay.
Okay, so there are two individuals in the world, O monks.
Tell me, please, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to check. Can you explain for us Dve me with this sort of contracted form?
Okay, I was just translating it as two. So the me is usually an enclitic. Oh no, these two. Sorry, yes, it's ime.
It's ime, right?
Ime, yes,
it's Dve ime.
Dve ime, yes.
But
sorry.
I guess these two vowels coming together makes it a little bit hard to say. So instead of saying Dve ime, it's shortened to Dve me.
Yes.
But
yes.
ime is these, plural, yes. Right?
So
these two.
Yes.
And of course, pugala, we find in the nominative plural to match.
Nominative plural matches that, yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
So yeah, so these, yeah, you could say these two, pugala upajamana. So these two individuals born in the world are born, but I was really translating it as there are two individuals born in the world who are born for the welfare of many people and for the happiness of many people.
Right. What case are those two words in?
So those words, I was translating them as, so I was going to translate those as singular dative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like maybe the dative of purpose, for the, exactly.
For the, yeah, for that, that's right, yeah. Bahuna janasa ataya hitaya. So the, and then that's, so for the great benefit and welfare, for the benefit and welfare of many people.
Yes. So tell me, what cases are bahuno janasa in?
So those are genitive. Those
right.
are genitives. Yes, singular.
Yes. Good. So yes, this is a somewhat, hang on a second. This is just a somewhat, to English speakers, odd way of constructing syntactically a sentence. Literally, it seems to say, these two people are arising in the world, and they arise for the. But of course, we in English probably wouldn't translate both the present participle and the present form of the verb both, because arising in the world, they arise sounds a little bit redundant in English, but that's how it's expressed in Pali. Okay, please continue. Katame dve.
Katame dve tatagato cha arahang sama sambuddho raja cha chakavati imeko bhikkhave dve pugala loke upajamana upajanti bahu janahitaya bahu jana sukhaya.
Yes.
Okay, so which two? So there's the Tathagata, the Tathagata,
The Tathagata.
the Tathagata, yes, Tathagata, getting the emphasis right, and the noble Tathagata, the fully enlightened one, and the wheel-turning monarch.
Right. So notice how this first person is described in three ways, right? What are the three ways he's described?
So there's Tathagata, he's the Arahat, and he is the Sammasambuddha. Yeah.
And right. What case is arahang?
So I was treating it as a nominative singular.
Right. Don't be confused by this different ending,
Sure.
but it is the nominative singular.
That's right. So it looks accusative. But yeah.
So the well-gone one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. And what case is Raja Chakravati?
Those are nominative as well.
Exactly. So this is the nominative form of Raja, of king. And Chakravati is Chakravatin. That's that in ending we have now introduced in this lesson.
Sure.
Those are, in fact, it seemed a little confusing to me. I should say that I think Garen Karuna Tilaka calls them adjectives, but they also function as nouns. I think substantives sometimes called. So they can be found or function both as nouns and adjectives.
Sure.
Good. I think that's clear, and the rest is a repeat of the previous.
Sure.
Thank you. Maybe we can continue with Jim on 53. Good morning.
Dve me bhikkhave pugala loki upajamana upajanti acharyamanusa katame dve tatagato cha araham sammasambuddho raja cha chakravati imiko bhikkhave dve pugala loki upajamana upajanti acharimanusati.
Okay.
So Tveme again was these two individuals, O monks. To do it in English, the way I did Upajamana was having been born into this world, then Upajanti, they are born wonderful people or marvelous people. Which two? Katamedve, the thus gone, worthy, fully enlightened one, and the wheel-turning king.
Right.
Just these two individuals, O monks, having been born into this world, are born wonderful people.
Okay, that's fine. Very good. So acharya means something like wonderful or extraordinary. Very good. Lisa, would you then do for us 54, please?
Dvinang ikave putgalanang kalakiriya bahuno janasa anutapa hoti.
Okay, let's stop there.
Like-
This is a
Okay.
little confusing because they seem to have thrown in a form that we haven't formally been presented with, I think, in this textbook yet, anutapa, and I've lost it here as a future passive participle of anutapati, and I've given the Duracell grammar section which would explain that. But Lisa, can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah. Just that word anutapa. Or
Yeah. How do you
want me to-
translate that?
Okay. I have it as is to be regretted.
Yeah, or maybe it should be plural because it's a plural, I think.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Or maybe it no,
Okay.
you're right. It should be not, it should be singular. You are right. I apologize.
Okay. It is going with the kalakiriya.
Right.
Okay.
What case and number is that?
That is, I believe it's nominative singular.
Yes. Right. That's why anutapa is also, as you said, and I initially was mistaken. So the death, right? The kalakirya. And anutapa, so anutapati is to regret or to mourn. And as you said correctly, the future passive participle should be mourned, should be regretted. It has that sense of this future passive sense. So can you please give us, tell me please, what case is dvinang pugalanang?
Yeah, so dvinang pugalanang, I have genitive plural. Here.
Yes.
So it's the death of two persons. So dvinang is of two, and then pugalanang, two persons.
Yes. So put the whole sentence together for us in English, please.
Okay, so amongst the death or passing away of two persons is to be regretted. And then I have bahuno janasa. This one I took it as a dative. So for many people.
Yeah, it's dative. You are right. It is dative genitive case. I think maybe in English we might translate it as instrumental, by many people. But you are correct as how the Pali expresses it. Right. Okay, go on, please.
Okay. Katamisang dvinang tathagatassa cha arahato samma sambuddhassa ranyo cha chakavatissa.
Mm-hmm. So what case is katamesang and dvinang?
Katamesang is a genitive plural here.
Right.
So of which two.
Good.
And then tathagatassa is also here is genitive singular. So of the tathagata, and it's I think it's referring back to the kala kriya, the passing away or death
Yes.
of the tathagata. And then arahato here is also genitive singular. No, sorry.
Yes, I think so.
It is? Okay.
These three are matching. It's one person. Tathagatassa arahato samma sambuddhassa. Three names for this one person.
Okay, yes. So the arahant and the completely perfect awakened one.
Mm-hmm.
And then ranyo, also genitive singular, so of the chakavatissa, of the wheel turning king.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you. Would you like to read just for us the last sentence?
Sure. Ime sanko bikave drinang bukalanang kalakiriya bahuno janasa anutappa hotiti. So, O monks, and then ko has indeed
Mm-hmm.
of. So ime sang again is genitive,
Good.
plural. So of these, the kala kriya here is the nominative singular, the death of two persons, the genitive plural again, is to be regretted. And then I have it's in the dative case, but like you mentioned, Stephen, by many people, it's regretted by many people, but it's in a dative case, so I have for many people.
Right. Very good. Yeah. So these two people, Kalakirya, as you've said correctly, is I think, feminine nominative. That's why we have that long A. And this is sort of that interesting way Pali expresses death. Literally, it means that having done one's time. So it's like your time is up, you've died. Kala is time, and Kirya is based on karoti, to make, to create. And is hoti anutapa. This is our future passive participle, matching in that feminine, going with kala kirya, to be regretted, bahuno janasa. Genitive dative, perhaps we can translate as instrumental, by many people, or for many people. Okay. And now 55. May we have Huilin please do 55?
Yes. Do me, sorry. Do me bikave truparaha katame dui tatagatocha arahang sama sambuddho rajacha chakawati imeko bikave dui tuparahati. Okay, so it'll be these two monks who are worthy of a stupa.
Right. So this is an adjective describing
Yes.
these two, tuparaha.
Katame is which two? Tathagato, that would be the Tathagata, which is the Tuscan one, the enlightened one, and Arahang, perfected one, Samma Sambuddho, which would be the fully enlightened, worthy one. Raja Cha Chakawati would be the monarch, or the wheel turning monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Imeko will be these indeed monks are too worthy of a stupa.
Right. Very good. Thank you. So notice here, we have in English, we use this word stupa as a sort of ceremonial structure to honor people who have died. But in Pali, for some reason, we becomes tupa, so that ST combination doesn't really work. And so we have tupa. And araha here is not referring to the arahant, but it has that sense of worthiness. Because, as we know, the arahang is, in a literal sense, the one who is worthy. Right. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So then we can move on. Lisa, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it down.
Okay, no problem. Oh, then we can move on to a set of verses from the Khuddaka Nikaya, the Subhasita Sutta. This is the well-spoken, about how to be well-spoken. So maybe we can hear from some people who haven't spoken yet. Sarah, can you please read and translate our first verse?
Okay. give it a shot. Tameva vacham vaseya. Yayatanam na tapeye. Parecha na vihingseya. Save vacha subhasita. So, talking about speech, vacham. Let's see, the only speech, tameva, only that speech. Vaseya is the optative form of vasati, speak, it should be spoken.
So tell me, just what case is tongue here?
You know, I think vacha is feminine.
Yes, what case?
Well, in English, I would want it to be nominative, but I don't think it is actually. So
What case do you think it might be?
I think it's accusative.
Yes, I would take tongue eva vachang as accusative. So we can start with the verb.
Right, so should be spoken only that speech. Something like that.
One should speak only that speech.
Yeah.
So this is the object of the verb. So we start here. First, the person is built into the verb.
Mm-hmm.
She should speak only that speech, tongue vachang. Okay?
Yes, that would be a better way to say that. Let's see. Yayatanang is a combination of ya, that's the feminine article, plus yang, plus atanang.
So what case is sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What case is yaya?
Ya is, I think it's accusative.
I don't think so.
No?
I would say, well, how would you describe this contraction with this apostrophe?
Well, I combined ya and yang plus atanang, which I thought was the accusative singular of self, atan.
Well, I would take yaya as instrumental.
Okay.
By that which, and then na tapaye. What is na tapaye? What form of that is that?
Well, that's the optative, I think.
Right. It's a short form of the optative.
Right. Of the tapayati, to torment.
Yeah, it's actually a causative form and in the optative. So we have the verb tapati with the short a, which I guess has the sense of literally to burn. And then with the strengthened a, tapayati, to cause to burn, but maybe we could say to torment. And here, this is the third person singular optative short form. And then what case is atanam?
I put that as accusative singular.
Right. So how would you translate this whole phrase?
Okay, so she should not speak. Well, it's really awkward to put that into English that way. I'm not sure you said it correctly, but she should only speak that speech that would not torment oneself. I had it flipped around for the English. I had the only speech that should be spoken is that which does not torment oneself. It's not literal, but it's... Now, how did you say the first part of it?
Well, maybe consider this first line, starting with Baseya. One should speak tongue eva, only that vachang, speech. Then I go to this relative pronoun instrumental, by which one or she does not torment herself.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense that it would be ya instrumental, because I was looking at his ya relating to the feminine vacha.
I would take it as instrumental, by which or with which. One, she should not speak that speech with which she torments herself.
Yeah, that makes
Right?
a lot more sense.
Don't say things that make you feel terrible.
Yeah.
So yaya is the relative instrumental. It's referring to the speech by which, or the speech with which, she does not naptapaye torment atanang herself.
Yeah, because I saw it, which I see now that that's a much better way to do it. But I initially saw ya for
Yeah.
vacha, and then yang would be like that, like a relative pronoun, like
Yeah.
so. But it's by which, much nicer.
By which or with which.
With which,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, go on for the second line.
Okay, so pare is the others. It's accusative plural. Na vihingseya is the aptitude of vihingsati, which is to hurt or injure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's negated. So na. So nor should it injure others. So
Yes. Go on.
and the sa is the feminine nominative singular. Ve is like verily or surely. So sa, it goes with vacha. So subasita is well. The prefix su is well, and basita is the past participle of basati. So truly this speech is well spoken.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or
Right.
surely this speech is well spoken.
Right. Okay, so just to recap this whole first stanza, basaya, one or she, we could take whatever pronoun we prefer. He, we could take she here. She should only speak that speech with which she does not torment herself and would not harm others. That speech is indeed well spoken. Right? Okay. Sarah, any questions on this verse?
No, I think I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Diane, could you please take the next one?
Okay. Piyavachameva basaya yavacha patinandita yang anadaya papani paresam basate piyang.
Yeah, papani.
Papani. Piyavachameva is Pia is dear, Vacha is speech. So if we're using Ava as like only, as we did in the first one, it's only pleasant speech. Basaya should be spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Yawacha, that speech. Patinandita. Patinandita is a past participle, meaning welcomed.
Yes.
That speech is welcomed.
Right. And notice that since vacha is a feminine noun, the pronoun, the relative pronoun is matching in the feminine, as well as the, as you said, past participle, which is functioning here as an adjective matching in the long A feminine too. Good. Please continue.
And the young Anadaya Papani. Right?
So how do you take, what is this young, by the way? Please explain, what is this, what case, and how does it function in this line?
I thought it was accusative, going with Papani, which is also accusative. So,
but is it the object of what?
Having not taken up evil words.
Well, give me the translation of the whole line. I'm not getting it yet.
Having not taken up evil words, the basate is should speak. Again, what is dear, piang, for or to others, paresam.
Yeah, so
So
explain
not-
basite for us, please.
Well, I wish I could, but I don't really understand it.
I think it's an optative, short optative.
Well, yeah, I understand the optative part. I don't understand the middle voice part. So
Well,
it's
we don't
just
have to worry.
over
We don't have to worry
used
too much about middle voice. We could just say maybe it's a short form optative.
Okay, a short form optative.
One should speak.
One should speak what is dear to others.
I might take it slightly differently. I wondered what this yam was doing here, and I realized that I think that it's the object of the verb basite. So if we start way over here on the right, keeping in mind this is poetry, so we can kind of scramble our words any way we like and still come up with a meaningful sentence, right? So one should speak young, that which, anadaya papani, not having brought bad things, right? One should speak that which does not bring evil things.
Ah, I like
And
that.
then this is also described as piyang paresang, dear to others.
There's not evil things. Ah,
So do you see how this could work?
I do, but now does young and papani still are accusative, right? Accusative plural?
Yeah. So I would take what, well, maybe
And so is
singular.
young.
One should speak that which not bringing any evil, or not, so this is the absolutive, right? Anadaya.
So papani is not accusative.
I think it is accusative. Yeah.
Plural.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Papani. But it's going with this absolutive. Not having,
Anadaya.
yeah, bringing no evil. It's an awkward verse. In fact, I noticed that in Venerable Bodhi's translation, he has to sort of, I wouldn't say fudge, but he sort of alters the syntax to make sense of it. I'll read you how he translates this line. One should speak words that bring nothing bad, speech that is pleasing to others. And this word speech, he puts in square brackets, meaning that it's sort of implied in that second half. So one should speak words which bring nothing bad, speech that is pleasing to others. So bring nothing is anadaya, and papani is bad, right? Evil. But definitely the young should be taken as the object of basite, basate. Is that clearer now?
Well, in a sort of forced way, I guess.
Okay.
It's not very good poetry.
Well, it is good poetry, but it's hard to render into English. Right.
Okay, it's not good in English.
It's hard to render beautifully in English, and as we've spoken about, translating poetry is an art form. It's not so easy. So we're mostly struggling here with understanding our forms of the verb and our cases and those things. Okay, let's move on maybe. Tet, can you please take the next one?
Sure. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
Sacham ve amata vaja isa dhammo sanandano sache ate cha dhamme cha Ahu Santo Patitita. Sajjam and Amata and Vaja are all agreeing in number case gender. So Sajjam is truth, Amata is eternal, Vaja is like word, speech. So I was trying like both ways. True eternal is the word, or true word, the words of truth are eternal.
Yes, or truth is indeed deathless speech. Maybe that would be the most literal.
Yeah. Sajjam ve is the emphatic, Amata Vaja. Isa Dhammo Sanandano, again the adjectivals equivalence. Dhammo is a doctrine, Sanandano is that of the ancient. So the doctrine of the ancient. Sajje ate ja dhamme cha ahu. Santo is the Santo is the I don't know how to say it, the peaceful or the doers.
What number or in case?
Santo is nominative.
Yes.
I think that is Santo is
well, look at the
plural?
next word. Yes, right. It's nominative plural.
Plural.
It could be technically it could be singular, because I think that same word could exist as a singular form. But here, since we have it matched with patitita, we know that it's plural.
Yeah.
So what cases are sache, ate, and dame, we can say?
These are all accusative?
I wouldn't say so. Maybe take them as locatives.
Locative, okay. Patitita is like established?
Right.
Firmly established?
Yeah. This is a little bit obscure. In fact, I noticed that in Venerable Bodhi's translation, he has a long footnote about people sort of arguing about this very verse. But I would take it in a maybe, just for our purposes, in a simple way and translate it in truth, in welfare, and in doctrine. Ahu, we have explained, is a type of past perfect which only exists in a few instances in Pali, because the past perfect is not a tense we normally have much of in Pali, but we can maybe translate it, it has been said. Then santo patita, good people are established. Or maybe if we reverse the two clauses, it makes better sense. It has been said, good people are established in truth, in welfare, and in the doctrine. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other final questions about these somewhat challenging verses? Sarah?
Just a quick question. For the Asa Dhammo, why isn't it Eso Dhammo?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, we've had this line in the Dhammapada too. I'm not sure the answer.
Yeah, I didn't know. I never, I think
But
it's been brought up,
but keep in mind that the s with the short a is masculine, right?
Yeah.
So it is correct.
Right. Yeah.
But it could have been a so. Why it was chosen a sa, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Diane?
You know me in cases. If there's a way to get them wrong, that's me. In the line Sacham Vea Mata Vacha, Sacham is nominative, neuter, singular, right?
Yes.
And so is Amata?
Well, amata is feminine, because vacha is feminine.
Ah, okay. So they are nominative. No, they are feminine. but they're both neuter. No,
No, no,
they're
no.
both
Okay,
feminine.
so this is an equational kind of sentence
Right.
with an implied verb, hoti, is. So the subject is sachang, truth. It is a neuter nominative, or truth, or the truth. And then we have ve is an emphatic, indeed. And remember that in an equational sentence, what is predicated by the verb is also in the nominative, right? So amata vacha is deathless speech, feminine nominatives. Are you there?
Yeah, thank you.
You get it?
Yes, I do, but I
Okay.
always make mistakes. You know that.
But now you understand.
Consistently making the same mistake.
Truth is indeed deathless speech. This is an eternal doctrine. In truth, in welfare, and in doctrine, it has been said, good people are established. That's one way to translate this. I will say that there may be other ways, but we'll set it aside for now. Lisa, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, then we can move on to further readings, I think.
Yeah, Stephen, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, just now the word patitita, if patitita will be past participle, right?
It would originally be, yes, but I think here it's an adjective.
So it becomes ta becomes plural or something.
It is
What will it be?
plural.
Plural.
It is
I see.
plural. Nominative plural.
Normally plural. Okay, thanks.
Because santo is also, I'm taking as a nominative plural.
Okay, all right, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. So now we can move on to our famous Sona Sutta. One of my favorites, being a string player myself. That I can relate to the sorrows of Sona, which is said that he was a player of an instrument called the veena, of which there seems to be some dispute what exactly that was. Sometimes we see this name translated as lute, which is a guitar-like instrument, or maybe a sitar-like instrument. And in fact, today in India, there are instruments called veena, spelled with a double E, which look like that, which are that. But it has been suggested that the ancient veena, like thousands of years ago, was in fact a different instrument, which was much more like what in the West we would call a harp, which means like a frame and strings that are vertical, and they're just plucked. There's no fingerboard, not like a guitar. This is, of course, all irrelevant to our subject, which is grammar, but this is what Sona was playing, some sort of musical instrument, which might have been like a harp, or might have been more like a lute. Maybe for now we'll just translate it as a veena. I mean, not translate it and leave it as veena. I noticed that Wikipedia has an article on veena, spelled with that double E spelling, V-E-E-N-A, and it does talk about this earlier type of instrument, harp-like instrument. So sometimes you'll see translators, I tell you this because sometimes translators will choose lute, and sometimes translators will choose harp. And this is the reason why, because it is not clear what exactly this instrument was. Of course, if we just translated it as veena, we would skirt the whole problem. Although if we did, then we would imply that it's the veena of today. So maybe that doesn't solve our problem. Okay, so now I should mention that this starts off with a type of construction which, if you are sort of new to Pali and only encountering this chapter for the first time, you are probably or possibly not aware of, which is not your fault at all, because it's sort of been sprung on us. But for those who have done some Pali before, like for instance Sarah, can you explain for me Nanute Sona Rahogatasa Patisali Nasa? What kind of construction is this?
Can we turn that over to Diane?
Are you punting already? It's a type of kind of famous construction.
I think it's a genitive absolute.
Yes, it is. It's a
Mhm.
genitive absolute. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry too much, because we haven't covered genitive absolute or its more famous cousin, the locative absolute, yet. I think this doesn't even arise till chapter 10. But just very quickly, a genitive absolute is a type of construction using, obviously, the genitive participle as a participle. And the point of it is that it's describing an action which is concurrent with another action. And so we could use this word while to help us capture the sense of this type of construction. So rahogatasa and patisalinasa are two past participles that are formed here, as you can see, in the genitive, and te is the subject. Also, we can take it as a genitive. So we might translate this first piece of the sentence, starting with nanu, which is this interrogative type of word, meaning something like, is it not, or was it not? So was it not the case? So keep in mind, by the way, that this is the Buddha speaking. This is not Sona speaking. And he's sort of appearing to Sona, repeating what Sona had just thought to himself. And so he's sort of, in a way, reading Sona's thoughts, reading his mind, and sort of telling him out loud as a way to console him. And notice that Sona is, of course, in the vocative, right? So Sona is not the subject here, really. It's not the grammatical subject. So we might translate the first part of the sentence, isn't it the case, Sona, while you were in seclusion? So raho, gata, and patisalina are two words that are really pretty much synonymous, which mean seclusion, isolation. But they're not in the genitive because they are telling us about possession, but they are giving us this sort of time frame, this absolute kind of construction. So we might again translate, isn't it the case, Sona, that while you were in seclusion, evang chetaso parivitako udapadi. So udapadi is what, Diane? What is this form of the verb?
That's aorist.
Right. Can you explain it?
Not really. It's how the past tense was formed.
Right. I have it here in my note. So upajati would be the present indicative, and Sanskrit upadyate. And so we have this a augment that we have been talking about, stuck in between the prefix and the root. And then we have the personal ending, which is the letter I. And so, isn't it true? Isn't it the case, Sona, that while in seclusion, so here we have our true subject, parivitako. So vitaka is thought with the pari, has the sense of like a mental sequence, a train of thought, a line of thought. So a line of thought or train of thought arose thus for your mind. Chetaso, this is dative. Or maybe in a more normal way, we can say, this thought occurred to you. So isn't it true, Sona, while you were in seclusion, this thought occurred to you? And so now here, this is sort of like a quote, a thought bubble, expressing what Sona's thoughts are or were. Ye kokechi bhagavato savaka aradavirya viharanti ahang tesang anyataro. So ye kokechi, maybe we can translate as of those savakas, the these are practitioners or disciples. Radavirya, this is an adjective meaning energetic. And then here, Bhagavato, genitive, of the Blessed One. And then our verb is dwell, viharanti. So of those disciples of the Buddha who dwell energetically, ahang tesang anyataro, I am one of them, genitive, right? I am one of them. Okay, now maybe we can have Jim take over for us the next sentence.
Ata chapana mena anupadaya asavehi chitam vimuchati samvijanti ko pana mekule boga.
Okay, let's stop there. Sorry.
All right. So I wasn't quite sure how to put this together in English. And I wasn't sure what asanehi was. Is that an instrumental of seat?
Asavehi. No, it's the word asava.
Oh.
In the instrumental. Probably okay. Going with anupadaya. So what is the subject here of this sentence, by the way? Or this piece of the sentence?
Is it chitam?
Chitang me. My mind.
My mind. Okay.
And what's the verb?
Vimuchati, to be free. Or
right, and it's negated, right? Na vimuchati. So my mind is not freed. Anupadaya asavehi. So
grasping.
Yeah. So my mind is not freed from the, or maybe that we could take this actually as ablative, from the asavas by non-clinging. Right? So my mind is not freed from the asavas by non-clinging.
Okay, so anupadaya is, yeah, that's negated, so it's by non-grasping?
Non-clinging or non-grasping, right? You can go on.
So Samavijanti is, they seem to be
So what's the subject here of this clause?
Is it kule?
No. It's the one where I've written nominative plural.
Oh, sorry, I should look back at yours. Sorry, I was looking at my notes, which don't have as much information as yours do. Now so boga.
Boga, which means what?
Is that music?
No, it means wealth.
Sorry, it means wealth or possession. I'm sorry, I had masculine jotted under it, and I misread it as music.
So boga is wealth. In English, we express this in the singular. In Pali, it's expressed in the plural, wealths. But that doesn't really work in English. But that's how it is used in the Pali as a plural. And sang vijanti, maybe we can say it exists. There are.
There are.
Right? So and then kule, we had this word kula a moment ago. What case would you take it?
Is it accusative?
No. It's locative. In my family.
In my family.
So he's trying to justify his bailing out here, right?
Yeah.
He's sort of sad because he hasn't been able to liberate his mind from the asavas. And so he's trying to sort of find an exit strategy from this being a monk thing. He's kind of trying to bail out. So he's thinking of ways, his mind is trying to construct modes of justification for bailing out. And so he says, Sangvijanti kopana me kule boga. There exists wealth in my family. You see? Kopana we could take maybe as but, and me for me, in my family, locative. But there exists wealth in my family. And now we have this word sukha, which we've had in earlier chapters, and it has the sense of it is possible, and it takes typically the infinitive form of the verb, which is here bunjitung.
So it is possible to enjoy.
And then what case is boge here?
Okay, wealth, so it'd be accusative plural, because you said wealths.
Right.
So wealths, and punyani is, katun, to do, punyani, meritorious acts.
Right. So he's saying, if I'm not a monk, I come from a wealthy family. And because of that, it's possible to enjoy this wealth and do meritorious acts or deeds. And so now he continues to think to himself. Now, so this word, yang nu ahang, has the sense of like, let me then, or perhaps I should. And now we have two absolutives, pachakaya, which means something like having abandoned, having given up, sikang, the object, the training. The training means the monastic training, right? Being a bhikkhu. And here, this somewhat maybe to us, to we lay people, hinayavativa, having returned back to the lower life. The lower life means, or the inferior life means the lay life, the non-monastic life, right? So let me then, having given up the training and having returned to the inferior life, the lay life, bunjayang, this is optative, I can enjoy the wealth and I can make merit. And Sona has to say, yes, Bhante, it's true. That's exactly what I was thinking. So maybe let me review one more time this couple of sentences. It's a little complicated. So isn't it not the case, Sona, while, so this is capturing this absolute construction, while in seclusion, this thought arose, parivutaku, arose aorist in your mind, or for your mind, chetaso. And now we have Sona thinking in a thought bubble. Of those disciples who dwell energetically, I am certainly one of the Buddha, of the Bhagava here, here Bhagavato, ahang tesang anyataro. I am one of those, right? I am very energetic, he says. Achachapana, but my mind, chitang me, is not liberated from the asavas without clinging. And then we have boga, this is our new nominative subject. Wealth exists in my family for me. Sukha, it is possible to enjoy wealth and make merit. Yang nu ahang, let me then abandon the training, having abandoned the training and having returned back to the lay life, I can then enjoy wealth and make merits? Yes, Venerable Sir. And then the Buddha continues, Tung King Manyasi. So this is a very common phrase. Literally, it has the sense of, what do you think of this or that, right? What do you think, Sona? So here, kusalo has, in this sense, the meaning of skilled. It also can, of course, mean wholesome. But here, I think skilled is much better because we're talking about playing a musical instrument. Agarya bhuto. So here, bhuto is a past participle of bhavati. So having been a householder before bube, you, having been a householder before, and then we have in the locative, vinaya tanti sare. You were skilled in, locative, the string music of the vinaya. Or maybe in normal English we would say, you were skilled playing the vina. So notice here, vina is a feminine noun with this long A. And it has this case ending, aya, which here we can take as locative. And here, sara is a word that means sound. It also could mean a vowel in a grammatical sense. In fact, the word consonant means with the sounds, with the vowels, consonare. And tanti is a feminine I noun, I believe, meaning string. So in a literal sense, this means string sound. But maybe just putting it all together, we can just say playing the vina. So isn't it true, Sona? Before, when you were a householder, right? An agara is a house. You were skilled in the vina? Yes, Bhante. By the way, please do not confuse the word vina or vinaya with the word vinaya, which means the monastic discipline, right? The word vinaya with the short I, not a long I, is actually based on the verb vineti, which is v plus neti, to guide, to not guide, which means to give up, to renounce. So vineti is vinaya, but vinaya is in or with the instrument called the vina. Okay? Maybe in our last couple of minutes we can have somebody volunteer to do this next little bit. Maybe we can cover that. We haven't heard from some people. Mark, are you there? Would you like to do it?
I am here. I don't know if I could do it, but I could try.
Why don't you first read it for us?
Is it Tang King Manasi Sona Yada Te Vinaya Tantiyo Achayata Honti?
Okay, let's stop there. How would you translate this?
I have almost no idea, but I can, let's see. Sona
Well,
is the
don't
person.
guess. If you're not sure, you can pass.
Remember, I emailed you. I'm still catching up on the first part, the first series. But
okay,
I mean, I could see a few words.
Well, maybe I'll help you.
Okay.
So, Tung King Manyasi, we may translate as, what do you think? What do you think about this? Sona, that's our vocative. And so yada is when. And the subject of our sentence, or our sentence fragment, is tantiyo. This is the feminine noun plural, strings. So when the strings of the vina, your vina, te vina, the strings of your vina. So this would be, Mark, what case would you of your vina be?
Is it genitive?
That's right. That's what the genitive expresses. It expresses possession often. So when the strings of your vina are honti achayata, too tight, apinute vina tasming samaye saravati vahoti kamanya vati. So apinu, is it not? Tasming samaye, this is a locative expression of time. at that time, your vina, te vina. So this is what case, Mark, would you say?
The
Well, vina, what case?
vina.
Remember, it's a feminine noun.
Is it nominative?
Yes, it's a nominative singular. The vina for you, te, or your vina, and then we probably would translate in English in the past, saravati. So saravant would be with sound, because this vant suffix has the possessive quality in the nominative, but we would probably translate this as something like sonorous or resonant, ringing well, right? Saravati. Or kamanya. So this would be something like workable, right? This has based on this idea of kama. Maybe we can translate this as easy to play or easy to play, va? So, in other words, the Buddha is asking here, when the strings of your vina were too tight, was it at that time for your instrument, was your instrument sonorous and easy to play? No he tongue, Bante. Certainly not. No he a tongue. Right? Not certainly not thus, literally, but venerable sir. Okay, I see we're out of time. So we'll have to stop here. And I'll ask if there are any grammatical questions that have come up, because I think what we've laid out so far here, the rest should follow fairly easily. But please ask if I've not explained anything sufficiently. No hands. Okay. Well then.
Hi, Stephen.
Okay. Who is this?
This is Ted.
Okay.
I just want to say, in Burmese translations, people will usually translate may, in this case, in the above paragraph, in the dative term.
For me.
Yes. No, to me. Yeah.
Yeah, to me. Right.
Yeah. I just want to say that. Thank you.
Are you talking about Atta Chapana me na anupadaya asavehi? Yeah. It's a little bit awkward sounding in English, but that you are expressing, I think, how it is in Pali. Maybe I'll just read quickly the Bhikkhu Bodhi translation for this so we can all be exactly on the same page. Sona, when you were alone in seclusion, so notice how he's capturing Raho Gatasa Patisali Nasa, these two words, alone in seclusion, and he's using the word when for this genitive absolute. Didn't the following course of thought arise in your mind? I am one of the Blessed One's most energetic disciples, yet my mind has not been liberated from the taints by non-clinging. Now there is wealth in my family, and it is possible for me to enjoy my wealth and do meritorious deeds. Let me then give up the training and return to the lower life, so that I can enjoy my wealth and do meritorious deeds. Yes, Bhante. Tell me, Sona, in the past, when you lived at home, weren't you skilled at the lute? Yes, Bhante. What do you think, Sona? We're here now, right? When its strings were too tight, was your lute well tuned and easy to play? So he's rendering kamanya as easy to play. No, Bhante. And that's where we stopped. So please go ahead and review for next week. I hope we can get together again next Sunday and finish up several more readings. I'm not sure if we'll make it through all the further readings. We'll probably need a third session to get through it all. But thank you all very much for your attention. I hope it has been helpful. I hope it's all clear. And I'll see you all next week. And I will probably send out a reminder mail for those who have emailed me. And you have my file now, hopefully, of both the initial and the further readings. So thank you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Stephen.
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Really
Bye-bye,
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.